The demographic collapse sweeping the developed world is not an accident. It's the direct consequence of feminist ideology reshaping higher education and women's life priorities. Since the 1970s, as feminist policies pushed for universal female enrollment in universities, birth rates in Western nations plummeted below replacement levels. South Korea, where 70% of women now attend college, has the world's lowest fertility rate at 0.78 children per woman. Japan, Germany, and Italy face similar crises, with fertility rates hovering between 1.2 and 1.4, far below the 2.1 needed to sustain a population. The correlation is undeniable. The more aggressively a nation integrates feminist educational policies, the faster its birth rate declines. This video examines why higher education for women, as currently structured, is incompatible with demographic survival, and what must change if nations wish to avoid extinction. The natural fertility window for women, ages 20 to 35, directly conflicts with the modern educational and career timeline. Medical research confirms that female fertility peaks in the early 20s and begins a steep decline after 30, with pregnancy complications rising dramatically after 35. Yet, feminist educational models encourage women to spend their prime childbearing years pursuing degrees, building careers, and delaying marriage. A 2023 study in human reproduction found that women who wait until after 30 to have their first child face a 40% higher risk of infertility. Meanwhile, universities promote the illusion that women can have it all, ignoring biological reality in favor of ideological dogma. The result? An entire generation of educated women who miss their fertility window, leaving nations with collapsing birth rates and aging populations. Feminist academia has reshaped women's incentives to prioritize careers over children. Data from the Harvard Business Review reveals that female MBA graduates who become mothers suffer a 41% lifetime earnings penalty compared to childless peers. In contrast, men see their earnings increase after fatherhood. This disparity is not accidental. It is the inevitable outcome of labor markets designed for male career trajectories. Universities, rather than addressing this imbalance, reinforce it by pushing women into high-intensity careers that punish family formation. The message is clear. Motherhood is economically hazardous. Until this calculus changes, educated women will continue opting out of childbearing to protect their professional futures. Higher education no longer simply teaches skills, it actively reshapes values. UNESCO studies show that humanities and social science programs increasingly frame marriage and motherhood as oppressive, patriarchal constructs. A 2022 survey of female undergraduates at the London School of Economics found that 68% viewed marriage as an outdated institution, while 54% believed having children would limit their personal freedom. These attitudes are not organic. They are cultivated through feminist pedagogy that equates traditional family structures with female subjugation. When universities teach women to see motherhood as a form of surrender, is it any wonder they reject it? OECD data reveals a stark pattern. Nations with the highest female workforce participation, particularly in high-status professions, have the lowest fertility rates. Scandinavia, often hailed as a feminist utopia, now faces demographic disaster, with Sweden and Finland at 1.6 and 1.4 children per woman, respectively. The professionalization of women has created an economy that rewards childlessness and penalizes family formation. Corporations demand total career commitment, universities push women into competitive career tracks, and governments offer minimal support for working mothers. The result, women who might have raised 3 children in previous generations now have 1 or none. Before the feminist reshaping of higher education, stable societies maintained replacement-level fertility. In 1950s America, where female university enrollment was capped at 35%, the birth rate stood at 3.5 children per woman. Similar patterns held across Europe and East Asia. These societies understood, implicitly if not explicitly, that educating women away from motherhood would have demographic consequences. Today's ultra-low fertility rates are not the result of progress, but of a deliberate ideological project to disconnect women from their biological and cultural role as mothers. Nowhere is the link between feminist education and demographic decline clearer than in East Asia. Japan, where women now outnumber men in universities, has a fertility rate of 1.3, despite massive government incentives for childbirth. South Korea's rate, 0.78, is the lowest in the world. China's one-child policy has given way to a no-child reality as educated urban women reject motherhood entirely. These nations prove that once feminist educational norms take root, even aggressive pronatalist policies fail to reverse the trend. The West is following the same path, just a few decades behind. The EU estimates that each missing child represents €500,000 in lost economic activity over their lifetime. Germany now spends 4% of GDP on childcare subsidies, yet its birth rate remains at 1.5, far below replacement. The cost of feminist educational policies is not just cultural but existential. Without enough young workers to support aging populations, pension systems collapse, healthcare becomes unaffordable, and national defense weakens. The math is brutal. Feminist academia is quite literally a civilizational suicide pact. The logical endpoint of feminist educational policies is a society where women are doctors, lawyers, and CEOs, but where the next generation does not exist. Universities celebrate rising female enrollment as a victory, even as the demographic death spiral accelerates. The truth is that no civilization has ever survived after disconnecting women from motherhood. Unless this trend reverses, the nations that embraced feminist academia most enthusiastically will be the first to vanish from history. Hungary provides a rare counterexample. By rolling back feminist educational dogma and promoting traditional family values, it increased its birth rate by 25% in a decade. Policies included tax breaks for married couples, student loan forgiveness for mothers, and public campaigns celebrating large families. Crucially, Hungary did not ban women from education, but it did stop universities from teaching that motherhood is oppression. The results speak for themselves. While the rest of Europe faces demographic collapse, Hungary is stabilized.